Hmm. I'd like to take a moment to
Oh yeah.
thank everybody that came here with me. You must call it. Come here speaking. Hey, good man. Did you get my email? It's a, it's a, at Georgia U.S. Academy. Yeah, 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 yeah. No problem. All right, see you. All right, good morning. All right, the first thing we got to do before we get too far into this is make sure that you can log into this site here. So I want you to start with this, okay? I'm typing in a you had to create an account to get on there. So I'll show you that site real quick. Oh, what? They're just on there. Hold on a second, I'm working on it. Let's see. Let's try this link. Well, that one worked. All right, make sure you can log in here. Sorry for that. All right, so when you get down, when you're able to log into there, let me know, okay? And you're going to need to remember your username and password because you're going to use the same username and password to get into this other website. Or
Well,
actually,
that
if you
one
just,
worked. All right, make sure you can log in here.
sorry for that. All right, so when you get down, when you're able to log into there, let me know, okay? And you're going to need to remember your username and password because you're going to use the same username and password to get into this other website.
Yeah, that's
Or
fine.
actually,
That
if you
one
just,
worked. All right, make sure you can log in here.
sorry for that. All right, so when you get down, when you're able to log into there, let me know, okay? And you're going to need to remember your username and password because you're going to use the same username and password to get into this other website. Woo. I forgot about this repeat, delay and repeat thing that's got this thing has on my end. It's kind of it makes you insane. Actually, if you go on here and you log in, okay, all right, hold what you got there for a second. All right.
I'm going to log in myself. When you log in here, you should see a link here that says log into Elite. Does everybody see that? Oh, you don't see the EMS login? You don't see Elite log? You don't see that, or you don't see the link to log into to Elite? Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, maybe yours doesn't have that. Okay, no problem. All right. I want you to be able, you're going to log into this other site with the exact same username and password, okay? And this is the site. mygymsys.org/elite. So, hold on a second. Georgia EMS, go ahead, you're speaking. What the fuck? I thought it was one of you guys. Cool. All right, I'll just wait till everybody gets in here.
Okay, so who's not in? Okay. Well, we'll get started with the first one. Okay. And if you're having trouble getting in, I may ask you to call me. I tell you what, I'll just do this. I'll put my number here. If you are having trouble logging in, operators are standing by. All right. The first thing I want you to do is you're going to click this little privacy statement. What we're going to do is we're going to create a new PCR EMS 3.5 form. Now you can use the same one from your work, Cody. It's just you have to change your organization. Let me show you. If you go into your top here, organizations, you're listed on here. So I can toggle back and forth between agencies, or you can just click this agency list, and it'll show you all the ones that you're associated with. That makes sense. If you're having problems getting in here, please call me. I mean, let's not waste anybody's time here. Okay. All right. So back to this. We're going to go into incidents, create new EMS 3.5 form, and this is what we got. So if you're looking at this page, just say yes. Type yes into the screen there for me. Hold on a second. I get a phone call. Jerry Cruz here. Hey, Ricky, what's going on? Okay. Okay. All right. I'll tell you what. I can help you out there. All right. Hold on. I'm going to give you a new password. Okay. Hold on a second. Gary Cruz here. Yeah. Are you having trouble getting in? Hold on, Ricky. Are you not? Okay. Did you go on to agencies at the top left of the page? Yeah, all right. Hold on a second. Weaver, right? Are you logging in with C Weaver too? No, no, no. You want to, the one I had here was C Weaver too. Yeah. And then I'm going to give you a new password here. Okay. It is now, your password is now EASY123. Easy. EA. Yeah, EASY123. Your username is C, capital W, Weaver 2. Oh, try it now. Try it now. You get the new password? Good. All right. Yeah, just put something in there. It can be the same thing. When nobody cares. Anyway, I've got another student. Okay. Ricky, are you still with me? Okay, cool. All right. All right. So, all right. Do you have what username are you trying to log in with? No, 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 no. That's not it. It's R Abrams one. capital R, capital A. It's like capital R, capital A. So R Abrams one. I will change your password to easy123. It's gonna want you to change your password when you get in there. It's gonna yeah, it's gonna want you to change that. All right, y'all just bear with me. I'm helping a couple people get logged in. Rick, did you get in? Hello. Okay, good. All right, let me get back to the class. All right. Okay, looks like we're back. All right. All right. So now what we're gonna do is so now we should have so everybody should be in, right? Are you ready to begin your first run form? I love it when you guys say that. Say what? Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so I'm going to start all over again. All right, we're going to go into incidents, new EMS run form. All right, so while we are getting on there and everybody's catching up with me here, um, I'll tell you a little bit about sort of the bane of your existence, which is patient care reports. Okay, so uh, patient care report data has evolved tremendously over the years. Look, the job of working on an ambulance really hasn't changed that much. I don't know what all these people are talking about. Like it's like everything's different than it used to be. It really is the same job. This is the documentation is a lot more significant than it ever had been before, and that's because of software programs like this. Now, my personal opinion about documentation is that one, I mean, I don't have a problem teaching it, and I don't have a problem having to do it. Um, over the years, when I first started, we wrote your patient care reports on a paper form. It was done in triplicate and scanned and sent to the state office, and nobody really did the data correctly. It's just way too technical for anybody to do. So over time and getting grant funds and things like that, this company Image Trend developed this software, which is actually, it's pretty good software. Well, actually, before underneath this is a database that was designed by the federal government. It's called NEMSIS, and so this database that we have in Georgia is roughly the same as the NEMSIS database. It's NEMSIS compliant. They've probably added some things in the state data fields in there. And if you don't know how databases are designed, every little thing that you put on in a form or whatever, it's got to go somewhere into a table. You might think of it as most people can't really imagine a database that well, but they can think about a spreadsheet. Think about all this data is going onto a spreadsheet somewhere, and so that place has to go onto a column um, in a. Oh God, hold on a second. That's probably one of you guys right now. Gary Cruz here. What the fuck? All right, let's try it again. Did you change your password to something? I thought you went back to the password reset page. Are you logging with all lowercase? Hold on, y'all. Just give me a second. We're have one student having a hard time getting in here. Are you trying to log into Elite? Okay. Should be able to log in, no problem. I'm going to send you some extremely detailed instructions. All right. Are you still Ricky Abrams 816 at Gmail? Okay. Getting a phone call. Okay, I just sent this to your email. Gary Cruz here. Hey, do you know what you're doing? Can you log into this thing? Oh, okay. I'm going to send you an email. Yeah, I'm sending you some instructions now, okay? By email. Can you do that? Can you open your email? Okay. I'm sending it to you now with your using with some information about how to log into this thing, okay? Okay. Get the email? There you go. We're in. Okay, great. Catch up. Bye-bye. Okay. I think we almost got everybody in here. It's really painful. All right, anyway, back to all right, so back to the problem. Back to so what it is. Um so ambulance so you'd run your call and there would be some times that were there but some blood one at least one set of blood pressure and um some basic information about the date and time, stuff like that. And you'd have to go in there and actually bubble all this stuff in on a Scantron form. And then um, no, and then I just happened to work for a place that was super duper busy, and they just couldn't keep up with all this crap. They could not. They didn't have the ability, the technical ability to work on these Scantron machines with 56,000 EMS reports. So they went digital like in I don't know 1999 or something like that. So we'd already had this big huge transition where everything was going in there. And then, so we had little CF20, Panasonic CF29 laptops and stuff, and we'd take them in people's houses and do all the stuff on it. We were getting all kinds of data on this thing. And then then I left the field for a while. Ended up, I come back in like 2008. I ended up working for this other ambulance service, and guess what they were still doing? Paper and pencil. And so we had to go through the whole um, transition process over again. These guys weren't anywhere near as fucking easy to deal with as the cab. The cab was like everybody was pretty progressive and motivated. This group was all like, like one guy. I remember we set him up with a computer, and he literally threw the computer out of the window of the ambulance. It's just like, geez, give me a fucking break. So that's kind of crap we had to deal with. Anyway, what you get here is really good information, but it comes off your back as a provider. And so, I want you to understand um, that you're going to have to make sure all this information is inputted in here. I now truly believe um, that I don't have a problem with them collecting all this information on calls. I have a problem with you having to self-report all this information on calls. That's what I really don't appreciate because they just put it on your back. I mean, it's like nobody that works on an ambulance is getting rich, right? So you're going to have to sit around and write patient care reports and put all this extraneous information in there. So I think it should be like a group effort. I think like the time should already be in there. The address should already be in there. If you're going to a dialysis patient, the patient's name and all the stuff should be in there. And yeah, and by the way, when you start fooling around with patient care reports and databases and stuff like that, you start figuring out pretty quick that um, that it's the same people that call 911 all the time. It's the exact same people. It's never any different. There's no such thing as very rarely do you ever run a patient that is not already in the system. And so ambulance services are just filled full of people that will never figure this crap out. It beats all I've ever seen. You would think that if you understood, like if you would think that if your ambulance service primarily transported people who have already been transported in the past 6 months, that they would change how they operated, but they don't do it because they're stupid. They're just stupid. So if you ever wonder why you run out of ambulances all the time in your area, whatever, this is mismanagement. I mean, it could totally be managed a completely different way. So anyway, that's my 2 cents about it. All right, so now we're going to start an incident report. Okay, and we're going to start off with the most basic type of incident report. It's a canceled call. Okay, so we're going to do a couple of these. All right, so hopefully everybody's watching. I haven't lost everybody. Hopefully everybody got logged in. Okoye, are you in here? Well, anyway, we'll just hope he's in here. All right, so here we go. All right, so the first thing is we're going to put in we're going to open this up. We're going to put in a PCR number. So um, and it can be anything you want. Change me. All right, and what I'd like to do is leave the unit notified dispatch time uh, blank.
We're going to add a crew member. I'd like to add this guy, Amer. I can't pronounce his name anyway. We're going to say he is a primary caregiver at scene. That's crew information. Dispatch information. Dispatch reason is, we'll just say abdominal pain problems. Okay. We're going to say this is a lower acuity, no EMD performed. EMS call sign. If I'm going too fast, just type something in your box there, and will keep me. It'll put me in check. Okay. EMS unit call sign. Med one. We are going to be a BLS equipped ground transport, and we are going to be the first EMS unit on scene. And then we hit next. Oh, so it is. Missed something. Oh, there it is. There we go. Type of service requested. 911 response. I like to say non-emergent. All right. This is very important that you put this on here because if you fail to follow instructions, you're going to be in a world of shit. Okay. So you're going to have to, uh, like the stuff that you put in here, you have to remember that this system has some very aggressive validation in it. What that means is if you type in multiple patients, it's going to expect multiple patient information in here, and you're never going to clear this up. We're trying to keep this first one simple so you can just understand how the software works. All right, so number of patients, very important that you put none. Unit disposition, no patient found. Crew disposition. We're going to go down here and put back in service, no services required. It's really important that you put that in there. Oops. All right, incident location type is a private residence. Incident street address. I like just put an address in there. It could be any street. How about 123 Elm Street from Friday the 13th? And we could put in a zip code here. I want to put the zip code where I'm at. How's that sound? And you can go on here and look it up. Now we're going to put these times in. And so it's super important that you get your times straight because if the times are out of sequence, this validation thing is not going to let you submit. And what's the goal here? I want to point out that your goal is to uh, get this validation to 100%. That's the objective. Okay. So this requirement is that you complete 5 patient care reports with 99 or 100% validation. Okay. So I'm going to start at the top. Boom, boom, boom. I'm gonna not update the crew. So we put like, and there you go. That's 100%. And I'm gonna save it. For some reason, it is going. It's taking a minute to save. I don't know. I don't know what that's all about, but whatever.
What if we got hung up somewhere? I think it got hung up. Yeah, that happens. Oh, hold on a second. You're through there. Okay. All right. Let's get you. Like are you just getting in there? Okay. Did you not follow the instructions about how to log into my Genesis Elite or anything? Did you not get that part? All right. That's all right. I'm gonna fast track into this thing. Okay. I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna send you some detailed instructions. I mean, well, I'm trying to teach the class, and so I'd rather just type you an email. Can you receive an email from me? Okay. So I'm going to send you an email. I want you to follow the instructions. Okay. Looks like you got two accounts here. 24, 2026. No, it's the same username and password that you log in with to your same username and password that you used to log in with my Genesis. Yeah, yeah, I'm gonna send it to you now. Okay, I see that. Okay. All right, I'm back. All right, so let's see. Did we ever? I don't know what happened to this thing. All right, so we're going to go back to the times here. Let me just save this preemptively. All right, there it goes. I guess whatever happened happened. All right, so we're going to go back to times. It just didn't save our times. That's no problem. All right, boom. Not update the crew. And all right, now we're at 100%. I'm going to save it again. Okay, now it saves. And then we're going to finish our incident. Okay, done. And then we are going to exit out of the menu. And then I'm going to close out. All right. And I know I'm probably going to have to just keep doing this
because some of you guys didn't catch up. So I'd like to take a minute here and find out exactly where you're at with this. Did you manage to get one of these done? So I'm going to look on my list here and see where you guys are at with this. All right. Yeah, you guys are following along pretty well. Very good. All right. Awesome. Um, I think I can log in here. Here's Ricky's. All right. So let's see where you're at with this. I'm just going to log in here and help you out. Okay. No patient found. We're going to go make sure that you put no support, no care support services required because that turns off the validation. Now, validation on this thing is really serious. We're going to put in an address and we'll use the hospital. We'll use this 30345. Okay. We're going to times. We're going to see this is where see how you got the time you got this time right here in the middle, but you've done at the top. If you get these times out of sequence, that validation is going to kick off. Again, it's important to know how to do a good canceled call. Bam. All right, so it wants us to go back here and add. Oh yeah, okay. So this you needed to add a. It wanted uh, a role to get 100%. All right, so there we go. Saved it. All right, so Ricky, I'd help you finish yours here. I'm going to finish incident. Mark it as finished. We're going to exit out of this and we're going to close it out. And then, all right, so we're going to go back on here and let's see how you guys are doing. All right, 100, 100, 100. Trinity, we're at 97%. Let's just take a look, see what you got there. I'm going to help see if I can help you out. Number of patients. So it once. Okay, that's part of the problem right there. All right. Up on a second, get the phone call. Gary Cruz here. Yeah, all right. I'll go here. I can help you out. The only problem is I've got two different James Pals here. Would you live at 1037 Palmer Road? Okay. Strawberry Valley Road, is that you? Okay, good. All right. I just want to make sure I had the right one. Okay, great. All right, so I'm going to change. I'm going to send you another email. Okay, I'm changing it for you. Well, I think you may also be screwing up the user ID because remember there's a lower and uppercase letters here. So yeah, that's part of the problem. So that's why sending an email will make more sense. All right, sending you an email now. want to say too much because all this crap is being broadcasted. Filter it out. All right, there you go. Send your way. It's true. Okay. All right. So try that, and if you have any problems, let me know. Okay. Okay, bye. Okay, working on Trinity's. All right, no patient found. That was good. Okay, I don't know why it's wanting to do that. Response times. All right, so this is kind of. Oh, I see what happened here. You put a bunch of crap in here that it didn't need. So boom, boom, boom. See, look, we might have made it on scene, but these other times we see you fired off all the validation. All right, so it's 99. That's the see. Now it's telling us that you didn't like your crew member, and it doesn't look like you did not give him a role. So now we give him a role, and look at that, you're 100%. Yay! All right, so you're done. Let's see how everybody else is doing. Okay, fantastic. All right, so we are moving along. All right, so James, did you get logged in yet? You with us? Okoye? Yeah, there'll be another class. There'll be another email link tomorrow. It's no problem. All right, y'all, are you guys ready to try another one? But before we try another one, I want to make sure that James and Okoye can join us this time because I don't see where you guys have done anything yet. So waiting for them to log in. Yeah, yours is done. I got yours fixed. Oh, here we go again. Hold on. All right, get logged in. Yeah, reset your. It wants you to reset your password. Okay, so you're in. All right. Okay, so you've logged in or you're not logged in. You're what? Okay, you're not logged in, and what did it did not accept your username and password? Is that what happened?
Okay. All right, I'm going to see. Did you get my email? Did you get my email? Okay. All right. So you know that there's uppercase and lowercase letters, characters in there. Is that right? You should have just copied and pasted that on there, and then your password is EASY 123. I'm gonna send it again. All right. There we go. It's heading your way. Okay. You should be able to just log right in. All right. Hold on. I'm getting another phone call. Good. All right. You're on the right track. All right. So you'll be with me in a moment. Okay. All right. I got to catch this other phone call. Eric Cruz here. Okay. Great. You're in. We'll take it from there. Just when you go on their announcement, just there's a thing you can hit OK or hit at the top of the, yeah. Just I'm going to start another one. Okay. And then just I'm going to leave you on the phone. Okay. Okay. All right. So here we go. Stand by. Okay. Time to start another patient care report. We're going to do exactly the same thing we just did. I'm going to run through it again. Okay, and but this time we're going to start with for the benefit of some of those of us that are having a very difficult time logging in. I am going to start. I'm going to log out and then log back in. Okay, so you can see what to do next. All right, so I'm going to log out. Okay, I'm going to log back in. All right, all right. Hold on a second. This is for the benefit of one guy. All right, did you see the page that I'm on here? The release form. Do you see that? Yeah, you are. Okay, announcements. Okay, just go to the top of the page. Okay, just where it says, and see that little breadcrumbs thing at the top of the page? Incidents. George Jim says PCR EMS 3.5 form. And I'm doing it, so you just watch the screen. It loads up a PCR. Okay, good. All right, very good. All right. Now you're with everyone else. We're going to start another patient care report. Just do what I do. Okay. Okay, here we go. Round two. All right, so we're going to start with another patient care report. All we're doing, we're literally just going to do the same thing we did before. In fact, we're going to do this at least one more time or two more times, and then we'll do something else. Okay. And you might say, what is the point of just doing canceled forms? Well, this is a great way to just learn how to understand how the software works. That's the first part of it. The art of writing a patient care report is going to be, we're going to explore that a little bit later. Okay. All right. So patient PCR info, incident number, just type in canceled, response number, type in cancel. Skip this part here where it says unit notified by date and time. Crew members, we're going to add a crew member. And again, I'm going to put my man EMR in there. I'm going to give him don't forget to give him a role, guys. Then we're going to hit next. We're going to go to dispatch reason, abdominal pain problems. Then hit next, call sign, BLS ground transport. We're the first unit on scene. Look, what would it be like if you said you weren't the first EMS unit on scene? Well, then you would be. You'd have to put who else was on the scene. You see how the system works? It's like, oh, well, you weren't the first one there. Then who was there before you? And this is the kind of questions this thing asks. It and this validation is extremely comprehensive, and our objective is not to. We're not going to be able to learn everything about this thing in one session, but we're definitely going to be able to kind of get an idea of how it works. All right, that's about all we can do here. So. Um, Response info, we're going to type of service requested. I like to put 911 to the scene, non-emergent. All right, number of patients. Very important that you put none, unit disposition, no patient found. And you're going to crew disposition, and you're going to go all the way down here to back in service, no care required. Okay. And then we're going to incident location type. Let's just go with our favorite address here, 123 Elm Street. Okay. Type in a zip code, 30341. Select the address from the list. Back to the times. Boom, boom, boom. Don't put all the times in. Just you don't have to go through every time, just the ones at once. Boom. Oh, it wants me to wants us to go back up and look at some lower acuity. Boom, that's 100% right there. Okay, let's see where you guys are. See how you guys are with me. If you guys stuck with me or not. So I'm going to go here and finish the incident. Okay, done. I'm going to close it.
I don't see James or Akoya on here, so I don't know if Akoya got logged in yet. James, are you with us? Hey, James. Hey, Gary Cruz. Huh? Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, please. Sorry about that. Hey, James, are you are you following us on the system there, making our patient? Yeah, that's fine. Just hit if you hit if okay, good. And hit save. That way I can you show up on my screen over here. You hit the save button. Yeah, yeah. Hit the save button. All right, cool. All right, just save it a couple of times if you don't care. All right, just follow along. That's cool. I didn't mean to interrupt. Okay. All right, see you. Bye. All right. Let's do another one. Actually, I'll let you guys get caught up with me. Is it possible for you guys to run another report? Can y'all just duplicate what you just did, what we just did twice? So I want you guys to make another patient care report. Just do exactly what you did before. Okay. The goal here is to make five. That's all we have to do today. Is five patient care reports. They could technically all be canceled calls, but honestly, it would be probably kind of useful to show you what this system can kind of present in a form of a real call. So I'd like to do like get everybody to do four canceled calls, and then we'll do one together. Yes, do another canceled call. All right, so I'm just gonna type it in type it in there, and
Yeah, in fact, you guys can just go ahead and work and get just keep moving forward and get 4 canceled calls in there. Okay.
yeah.
All right, guys. Y'all hold on for a second. Let's just wait for you guys to finish the let a couple more finish get to the fourth one, then we'll do another one together here. But we're gonna do a real call this time.
Come on. There we go.
Okay. So now we're gonna move on to this and actually look at some, we're gonna try to run us a real call here. All right. So in order to do this, we have to have a scenario. So all right, this is your Chinese menu. Okay. So this is a document that you should be hopefully pretty familiar with at this point. And so remember that we need to understand the call based off the phases of the call. Okay, there's an en route phase, there's a primary survey phase, there's a follow-up assessment phase, like a focus history and physical exam, and ultimately whatever you did to resolve the call. So now we're going to watch the videos that I made. And these are kind of weird because they are AI videos. So they were a little bit, they came out weird. Let's see, I want to see. Oh, all right, yeah, here it is. Okay. All right, so this video doesn't have any sound, so let's watch this video. I'm gonna try to talk you through the video. All right, so we got a bunch of ambulances sitting in an ambulance station. Looks like two Canadians are sitting here talking about stupid shit. They're checking off their equipment, which is not. This is not what an ambulance looks like. This guy has a weird thing about tape. I don't know what this is. Again, AI just literally created this. I mean, created like all this little mixed miscellaneous detail. Okay, here's a call. A call's being dispatched. And I guess that's what an EMS radio looks like in China. So they're gonna be en route to the call. The dispatcher's giving them some information. Dispatch needs to respond to a person with uh, abdominal pain. So they're driving through town. It looks like Toronto. I feel like if you say make an ambulance and roaming through town in a city, I think AI just wants it to be Toronto or Montreal. It's really funny to me. So I just like making fun of Canadians anyway. All right. So anyway, we've arrived at the house. Okay, and the ladies met us at the door. So apparently they're going to go see her. I don't know why they parked across the street, but whatever. They're going to go inside, and she's sitting there talking, and she's sitting there like, "Oh, my stomach hurts so bad." No, right off the bat, what does she have? Somebody just tell me what that is. If you learned anything in my class, what is her problem? Oh, it hurts so bad. If you said ectopic pregnancy, that's exactly what I wanted you to think. All right, they put her on a stretcher, but this looks like no stretcher I've ever seen. Notice that there's two male paramedics. Now there's an ambulance in the ER. Timothy, I think you can appreciate this, how crazy uh, this video comes out because of AI. Like this is kind of like what happens when you just give it some basic guidelines. I was gonna go, well, initially no, but I was gonna say yeah. Okay, there you go. That's the video. Looks like they're getting the truck back together. Okay. All right. So basically, what we had here was during this phase of the call, it sounds like we were dispatched to an emergency call, went en route. We drove all the way through Toronto. Yeah, it's really bizarre. I think it hallucinates that it's in Canada because every time it does something, it's like, oh, this is a this city's too clean to be an American city. Um, must be Canada. Okay. All right. So she meets us at the door. She's had abdominal pain. Let's call her a female of childbearing years. All right. And we're having a talk with her. So like when we're talking to her, what exactly are we talking about? Like what is the subject of the conversation? If you said the sample history, then that'd be right. You see how what we're doing in class is what we're writing down. This is I'm preparing you to think about the call in the terms that we learned about it in class. Okay, that's what we're trying to do here, and this is what unfortunately most people that run these calls really don't ever they don't think about the call that way. So if you think about the call and if you, it's like so my thing has always been patient assessment and documentation are really it's really the same thing. It's like one like what can you explain what happened? And again, who would read this report? Well, most of us are getting pretty spoiled because for the most part nobody reads your report. Nobody cares about that you took a patient to dialysis or other than someone doing billing. But the main people that are going to be looking at your written report are going to be, the folks that are going to submit it for reimbursement, stuff like that. So that's the number one people that are going to read it, and we'll see. I mean, even knows how much they read into this thing. Uh, when you start running 911 calls, 90%, 99% of what you write down will probably never be read by anybody. Now, who do you think is going to read this report? You might get a nurse to read this at the hospital, but they're not going to read everything that you wrote. They just want like whatever information you can get off the patient, like name, date of birth, stuff like that. So believe it or not, unless you're going to follow, unless a patient's going to be followed all the way through, is going to go to the trauma and maybe going directly to surgery or something like that. The hospital reads very little of our reports. Um, it's really funny, but they do like the fact that we put a name, date of birth, and they will include it in the file. The next thing, but sometimes, but there are other people that are interested in what we do that aren't necessarily the hospital or the billing service. The people who could be interested in reading this report could be the general public. Dare I say why? Why would you think the general public might be interested in knowing what happened on a given call or something? Could be a complaint, could be an issue with dispatching. Perfect example. So City of Atlanta routinely loses EMS calls. Routinely. Now, for the most part, those calls it doesn't mean a damn if someone showed up or not. That's just the reality of it. But what about when it did? What about if it was an 8-year-old female that's been hit by a car? Well, that's exactly what happened. Roughly, I'd say somewhere around 1991 or 1992, Grady lost a call, and and it happened to be in East Atlanta, inside of DeKalb County, and for this led to to DeKalb County uh, uh, taking over that part of City of Atlanta, which completely changed the whole call volume of the whole ambulance service because they probably ran just in the 13 miles of the city of Atlanta. They probably ran, I don't know, three times as many calls as the rest of the county, as the rest of DeKalb County would have. So just overnight, DeKalb became sort of like almost like a city, like an inner city ambulance services, and before that they were, DeKalb was mainly rural, and it was like a rural ambulance service for the most part. Actually, it was still part of the fire department, but when it started getting like that, they kind of dumped it like a hot rock. They didn't want it to be the fire department's problem. So you see, just like one call, who read that report? Well, you got probably the people at the hospital, coroner read it because the kid died. Um, the family wanted it, attorneys wanted it. Oh yeah, and what kind of questions do attorneys ask? So I think out of all the people that you want asking questions, I mean, you can pretty much figure out, well, why didn't you show up and pick up my kid and take him to the hospital? I mean, that's a reasonable question a parent would ask. But what kind of questions would an attorney ask? Well, an attorney's going to ask significantly more leading type questions. Hold on a second, I'm getting a phone call. It's probably somebody can't get in. Hold on. Gary Cruiser. Yeah. Yes, it's the same thing. We know, yeah, we know what you probably need and you probably don't. So that's what you get. That's what's on there. So this is good for Georgia and National Registry. Yeah, I get that. I get there's another when you finish that class, there's another 20 hours of stuff on there to take. Yeah, no, you didn't. Okay, all right. Okay, back to the show. All right. So anyway, so yeah, you never know who's going to read your patient care report. That you don't know what type of something happened to some. You don't really know. You really don't know. Sometimes you have to be prepared for this. So, and also, if you ever go to court, you're gonna you're probably gonna be thinking about uh, like you have to also remember that you're going to have to explain this not to an attorney or a judge, but a jury. And you got to have, and so how are you going to explain what happened to this? I mean, this is a really good question. Like this job is not that difficult, but could you explain what you're doing to somebody that's educated and wants to make you look bad? Could you do that? Because that's what you might be getting yourself into. So it all starts with your documentation. I've been to court. I've been subpoenaed. I don't know how many times. I've actually been to court uh, 4 times. I was treated as a hostile witness on one time. And every time we went to court, I had no idea why exactly it was that we were being like what we were there until we got in there. So whatever you think happened wrong on a call is not the reason why. That's not going to end up. It's going to be a different reason than that because attorneys are because they really like they're just protecting their client and they're looking for some angle that you never really thought of. So you can't really document everything all the time. You have to think about who's going to read the report, and that is it. So who do we think is going to read this report? I mean, honestly, we know that we transported the patient to the hospital. So, what do you think the liability is on a call where someone called 911, we responded, we picked them up, and we took them to the ER? How much liability is in that particular call? Very little. There's very little liability there. Okay, in terms of so do you think you're going to be sitting in front of in a courtroom or something like that? No, but what if she had been maybe there's some extenuating thing that you don't know about and down the road, so you need to make this look like a routine call. Okay, um, so we're not really expecting anybody other than the normal people to read this report. When I say normal people, I mean like the billing clerk and the nurse at the ER might write down, the patient's name and stuff um off your patient care report. So they're probably not going to get a whole lot of information off of it, but they're going to get some. Again, largely what we do is not appreciated by the medical community. And that's kind of one of the reasons why, you know, there's such a kind of a fallout between EMS and the hospital. You think that they would appreciate it or get it, but they really kind of don't because a lot of it just exists outside of what happens at the hospital. So now we're going to create a new report, and this time we're going to document this call. Okay, so I'm going to start here at incident number. Type in abdominal pain. Abdominal pain is the call. Again, I'm going to leave the dispatch time blank. Okay. Oh, yeah, by the way, what's up with all these times? Okay, you need to understand that, like, when you get the call, who was the first person to see the call? Well, it'll be the call taker. The call taker sees the call first. And then the call taker transfers that information to the dispatcher. Obviously, if you're in a smaller area, the call taker and the dispatcher would be two different people. And then, so there's two people that knew about this before you did. And then, so that entire handoff process has to be documented. It's going to be up to you to document that in the patient care report. Again, these are calls that do not even apply to you. What times do apply to you? The time that you were actually dispatched, the time that you arrived on scene, and all this kind of stuff. But you'll see countless other times on there. All right, so crew info. We're going to add a crew member. I'm going to put my homie Aimer in here, and I'm going to make him a primary caregiver of the scene. And why don't we just add another crew member on here? How about Abdul Kadur? We'll say he's the driver. Okay. All right. And then we're going to go to dispatch info. Dispatch reason is abdominal pain. Dispatch priority, since we went lights and sirens, we're going to say this was emergent. Okay. EMD performed. I'm going to say no. And then you might say, what? Okay, what is EMD? EMD is emergency medical dispatch. So somewhere in the again, what we're kind of seeing is kind of a whole world that existed quite well. EMS really existed and was extremely well funded and powerful, and they had no problem getting people in the 80s and mid to late 80s and 90s. So there was 15-year period where I'd say, and I worked in EMS in those years, and it's kind of a golden age, right? One of the things that was being experimented was the use of EMD. So ambulance services are taking on more and more calls every year, and so what if you had a paramedic that was working at dispatch?
That was kind of where this started. What if you had a medically trained EMT working at dispatch that understood the nature of these types of calls and could categorize the calls and and say that some of these calls were um, unnecessary, were less priority than others. Okay, so like let's say if you called 911 um, uh, for abdominal pain, where would that stack if someone else had called for, I don't know, difficulty breathing? Well, obviously the difficulty breathing call should have connote higher importance than abdominal pain, right? So the this abdominal pain call gets dispatched as a lower determinant, and then what's a pre-arrival instruction? So pre-arrival instruction is where while you're waiting, these guys will sit there and talk to you on the phone like customer service, you know, and they won't hang up on you. They do the customer service thing. And if you ever want to piss anybody off at customer service, here's a little pro tip for you. Just don't hang up the phone. Just say, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to stay on the line until somebody talks to me that can resolve my complaint. You'd be very surprised to know they want you to hang up. They want you to be frustrated and hang up. And if you don't hang up, you say, I'm still here. They can't legally, a lot of them can't legally hang up on you, which is really funny. Um, so, anyway, that's dispatch for you. Okay. All right. So we go next. And unit information, still Med 1. We are a BLS equipped ground transport. Are we the first unit on scene? Yes. Even though AI seemed to have hallucinated multiple ambulances on that call and extraneous people that didn't exist. All right. Type of service requested was a 911 response to the scene. This was immediate. Okay. Emergency response. And look, I mean, I think you guys are starting to see. I mean, is it really is it really a huge difference between like schlepping dialysis patients and going to a call like this? It's no difference. I mean, there's literally no difference. It's the same job. Okay. All right. So some things you might want to look here is additional response mode descriptors. Um, Initially, it was initial lights and sirens, but we were downgraded. So sometimes you can go en route to a call and let's say that uh, maybe the fire department gets there and says, engine one, the dispatch, you can downgrade EMS, which they're probably not doing that much anymore. They'd rather you just run lights and sirens across town because they don't want to sit on the scene wait for your ass to get there. They don't want they're already having to wait 20 minutes. They don't want to wait 30 minutes, right? So um, they probably don't downgrade anybody anymore, but it used to be the case when you'd show up and the fire would get there and they would downgrade you. Reason for transfer visit. So this was a this could allow you to explain why a call was why you were going to a call maybe that wasn't dispatched by a dispatcher. So let's say you're having to do an interfacility transport. Those are rarely, you're not really getting dispatched in the same manner that everybody else is. So they just tell you like, oh, be here at this location and pick up this patient and take them XYZ. And so this would be a place for you to explain that. All right, patient disposition. We had one patient. Okay, you notice how the validation on the left side of the page kind of lit up. Okay, unit disposition. In fact, we did make patient contact. All right, and so now it's going to ask us some more questions. See what happened to our validation? It dropped down to 34. Patient evaluation and care. The patient was evaluated and care was provided. The crew disposition. We initiated primary care and transported. Provided we initiated and continued primary care. Transport disposition. Transport by this EMS unit. Incident location type is a home or is a private residence. It's back to 123 Elm Street. And let's give it 30345 zip code. All right. All right. Now we're gonna. And what I'd like to do is we'll build some times here. All right. So this is where it's going to get a little interesting. So let's just start. Let's just start with the times, and then we'll come back. We'll finish the time. So let's just start with the first part of the time. So let's dispatch time. See all these extraneous times here. All right, we're going to come back to the times. We'll finish those times up later. Just do up to unit arrived on scene because that's going to tell us. We're going to come back because we're going to have like as we made contact with the patient, we're going to take vital signs and stuff like that, and so we don't want to get that. We don't want that to get complicated. So we'd like to come back and um, actually we go ahead and put arrived at the patient, so we can put that down. All right. So the um, so we can we'll hold off. We'll hold off on the rest of the times. See how the times are chronologically in order. Again, if the times aren't in order, the system's not going to like it, and it's going to validate you down to nothing. All right. And see, it looks like it has final patient acuity. Let's just say it was a uh, lower acuity. Okay. All right. Level of care provided, BLS. Okay. All right. Now we're going to patient info. Now, this system gives you a lot of options for putting people in. So let's see if we can find a repeat patient. Okay, never mind. It's not going to let us do that. I think that before you type anything in there, it should always be that you should always look for repeated patient. Like I said, especially for you guys that work for like when you put a repeated patient in there, literally not only does the patient's name, address, date of birth, all their biographical information, not only does it populate, but so does their history and everything else. It's super handy. And like I don't like I worked like when they when the we went to the computer when we went to the system at Habersham and everybody was like, oh God, like I hate computers, fucking, and just throwing computers out the window of the ambulance or whatever. The You found that what they failed to understand was that this repeat patient thing was like really handy, and especially up here because literally every patient that we had was probably transported to the hospital in the last, I don't know, 6 months. So all this information was very recent. No one ever wasted their, no one ever looked at it. No one ever cleaned up the repetitive data. You would actually have the same patient in there listed in this list of patients that's accessible by the ambulance service. I don't know how many times you'd have them in there, like it could be 50 times. We had frequent flyers that nobody ever understood how to do all this stuff. And they they just kept stacking the same patient up. John Smith, 123 Elm Street. But anyway, we're gonna since this is frequent flyer doesn't work, we're gonna have to add this on here. So we're gonna make this patient's name is gonna be Doe. First name is Jane. Date of birth is we'll say that it is um, one or say January. uh, January the 1st, 19. I remember this. This is not fun to work with at all. 01, 1991. Okay. That makes our patient 35 years old. Okay. And then that puts her years, and then sex is a female. Race is white or whatever's appropriate. And yeah, look, it's male or female here. Unknown. Sometimes you don't know. That is a fact. Sometimes you don't know. I don't know how you don't know because you can always just take someone's pants off and see what's there. But aside from all that, maybe some people don't want to answer that. Um, does the pronoun thing really is medicine really affected by the pronoun thing? I'm not sure exactly. All right, so the patient's address is the same as the incident address. Okay, so see what that did? It populated this information from that field, and then we go to next, and we don't need to put any of this information. It's not outlined in red, so we go to here. So it's going to ask you some infectious disease related questions. Just put no, no. So they're actually looking for, this is all information that was added probably during, I don't remember seeing this. And like I said, this system evolved a lot since I've worked on the ambulance, but they're asking questions. There was a field in there, it's something like that, 10 years ago when I used this thing last time. And it was kind of asking questions, but this is like a lot more specific. Okay. Okay. And then next, surgical history. So we'll say that she has, um, let's say she's a diabetic. And also, so you've got a list, you've got a drop down list here, right? But this is kind of a lot. See, what you can do is you can hit this, and you can actually search for values here. So we can say I can just type in diabetic. Okay, here we go. Endocrine diabetes type 2. Okay, check. And let's see what else. Let's say she's got high blood pressure. Okay, check. This is kind of a pain in the ass. I don't really like this format, but whatever. Okay. And let's say the patient told you something that wasn't on the list, which my guess is, instead of dealing with that, they probably people type a bunch of crap in there. Let's say that the patient has some kind of a strange disease. Let's call it acromyelitis. I just made that up. You like that? Okay. Obtain medical history from the patient. Then it wants to know alcohol drug abuse indicators. And let's say that we just put not applicable. I don't know if that's going to make it go away. This thing's kind of one-sided, don't you think? Oh, there you go. None reported. That makes it go away. Okay. And then possible pregnancy. Yeah, she's a female of childbearing years. So how about yes? Possible unconfirmed. See what I did there? I didn't commit to it. I didn't say you were pregnant. I didn't say this was an ectopic pregnancy, but I did say that it was possible. And that's all that it takes for you to consider that. All right, so we're going to say that she takes um see, look at all these different medications here. All right, so let's say that we looked in there and she takes insulin. We'll say Lantus, and okay, it's going to want to, if you type on the medication, let's put the dosage. I don't know. How about 10 units? What's a unit? What's a unit? Units, whatever you want it to be. How about just units? Here we go. Units. Insulin's done in units. All hormones are done in units. What's a unit? I don't know. Probably differs from medication to medication. We'll say that she also takes something for high blood pressure. So let's give her some amlodipine. Here we go. Lotrel, super common. And we'll say that its dose is 25 milligrams. Oh, does she have any allergies? Let's say she's allergic to NSAIDs. Okay. All right. So barriers to healthcare, we'll say that there were none. Patient's complaint was abdominal pain. It's been going on for 24 hours. Oh, okay. Abdominal pain. Okay. Provider impression. You see why people don't like filling these things out? I mean, it's kind of crazy. Patient's primary provider is pain. Yeah. Abdominal pain. Done. Provider secondary doesn't have one. None noted. All right. Initial patient acuity was emergent. No, it was not a cardiac arrest. Is it a possible injury? Again, you really don't know. Maybe, but you don't know till you ask. Possible stroke? No. Okay. Now we set a set of vital signs. Okay. So, all right. So this is a GP the GPA assessment. So this would actually be pretty appropriate for her. So gravida is the number of times she's been pregnant. So let's say she's been pregnant twice and she's had two children. Okay. Vital signs. We'll go with a full set. You have to have at least one full set of vital signs in order to satisfy the license management system. So we'll say so we see it just printed us off a time here, which is great. All right. So we're going to say that we got the blood pressure here. So we got, let's say the blood pressure is 120 over 80. Okay. Heart rate is 120. Method of blood pressure is auscultated. That's the one you take with your stethoscope. Pulse oximetry is 98%. Pulse is regular. Respiratory rate is 20. No effort. Normal. Normal respiratory effort. Okay. We would have had to have taken her blood sugar. So let's say that was 150. Okay. Sometimes you might say blood sugar, glucose, other. Okay. If you this particular block wants a number, but sometimes when you take a blood sugar, it'll just read HI or LO for low, meaning it's so low it can't give you an accurate number. So it just doesn't even try. It just says, hey, it's below, it's low, it's high. I think high is like anything over like 500 is usually high. Anything under 30 is usually low. So, all right, Glasgow Coma Scale. We didn't, we just, that was covered on the internet mainly through one of those things. So, Glasgow Coma Scale is an assessment tool for identifying a person's mental status. and alter or it kind of covers mental status and level of consciousness in one calculation. So the way that the GCS, in order to get 15, we're going to give her a 15, but let's play with this a little bit. So opens eyes spontaneously, she's oriented, and she obeys commands. You see how this is kind of a combination of level of consciousness um, and mental status. And if you recall from the class, I feel like I explained this pretty well. Altered level of consciousness is when somebody is not alert, where a person is confused has altered mental status. Okay, hope that makes sense. Okay, so that's what we've been trying to say here. And but the shades of gray exist in the Glasgow Coma Scale, and so it wants you to know, were these values selected without any sort of like, were these legitimate values without interventions? Yes. So it gives you a 15. But look what happens when we change the numbers around a little bit. So like, so here's a dead person. Boom, boom, no move, no eye movement, no verbal response, no motor response. See, if you look down here and you see now it says 3. Again, the Glasgow Coma Scale is for the most part not useful except for patients with head injuries. Patients with head injuries, this is freaking useful, and it's how the hospital actually um, it's how the hospital actually defines progress and condition of a patient with a particular head injury. They use the Glasgow Coma Scale to do it. It can be somewhat useful for drunks, but for the most part, we're talking about. All right, so the patient is alert. Again, back to the original levels of consciousness. There was alert, verbal, painful, and unresponsive. In my world, I say you're either alert or you're not alert because these shades of gray. Because the reason why I say it that way is because when you've got these verbal, painful, unresponsive, you've got these are all patients that should be treated as unresponsive, and airways need to be assessed. Possibility of bagging these patients exists, stuff like that. Okay, and then moving forward here, uh, so we hit OK, and oh, I didn't like something here. Oh, I got you. There it goes. It's happy now. All right, so the vital signs are satisfied. Now, if you had taken multiple sets of vital signs, you would add multiple sets of vital signs. And again, like this is a lot of work to put this in. Um, I would, this is why uh, like a lot of non-invasive blood pressure machines actually have um, the like actually will Bluetooth the data to your report. It's like why they're not doing this. Like places, some places have got it figured out, but a lot of places just make like, hey, you guys can put it in there. I mean, this is piss poor. I mean, like this is how this kind of thinking's got to change. We've got to meet the people, the rescuers, more than halfway in order to pull this off. I kind of believe like ambulance services could just hire somebody, maybe hire someone like me that really doesn't, is too old to really work on an ambulance anymore. I mean, it really doesn't need to be working on a truck any longer. And but they really know everything. Why don't you let them ghostwrite this stuff for people? That would be a good job for somebody. Um, all right, so now we're going to write that. So we'll come back to the narrative here, but let's go with the transport destination information. So number of patients transported in this EMS unit was 1. How was the patient moved? They were stretchered. That's really important information because I see in the past you would have had to remember to put that stuff in. Okay, like you would have had to like say like explain how the patient was moved and see like they're made a data point for it for you to put that in there. I think that's really helpful because I mean it's one of those things that just consistently was left off the patient care report, and you never know if this is who's gonna be asking questions about this 2 years from now, like an attorney
um, or somebody. You really don't know, and you don't know like what problem the people have. They're not going to communicate this stuff with you. So, I mean, this is good information to put on there. Like, well, how did you move them? I mean, are there cases where medics don't want to move patients by stretcher? Yeah, every freaking day they want to try to walk the patient to the ambulance. I am not opposed to that, but there's got to be a certain level of risk management thought process that goes into figuring out how you're going to move. Like, if I'm going to go downstairs, I'm not going to let the patient walk down the steps. That's just asking for a patient's fall to happen. Um, so I mean, I don't want to do that. So so I don't. The um, so anyway, the keep in mind, like I mean, again, like the thing that came to mind the most, like you'll never have a problem stretchering somebody to your ambulance unless you drop them. Then then you would have been better off walking them to the stretcher, to walk them to the ambulance. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to think about what you're doing. Um, could you say that all patients need to be stretchered to the ambulance? No. I mean, there are like some patients don't. No, there's a lot of patients that don't need it. I mean, then you might say, well, why do they even need to go to the hospital by ambulance? And then you know what? That's a great question, actually. Do they really need to go in the first place? My answer is probably going to be, if you have to walk to the stretcher, I mean, why can't you walk to your car? Um, I think one day EMS um, will be able to answer questions like that more effectively. But right now, we just kind of get pushed around and bullied around by either the fire department or the doctors or whomever, or the local public or whatever. But at some point, there'll be a take no shit, take no prisoners kind of attitude from you guys. I hope to be a part of that voice. I hope to be a part of that confidence that you may have at some day. Okay. Transport mode from the scene, it was non-emergent. All right. Position the patient during transport. Let's just say it was the semi-Fowler's position. All right. So you might recall the different positions that you could seat someone in, or they could put, you got a sitting position. That's someone sitting on the bench. Semi-Fowler's is what's on the stretcher. All right. You got prone, which is on their stomach. Nobody should be transported in the prone position, but that's how you could find the patient. There should be there was a, this would have been a good thing to find, like how you found the patient. I don't really see that in here, but I do see how we're transporting the patient. That's probably good. Uh, yeah, nobody should be transported in the prone position. However, there are people that do it. Absolutely. So, like, you never know what type of stuff happens in other areas. So, I mean, I came into this information. We were talking about. I had a student who had been an EMT in the past, and we were talking about the different positions. And I said, yeah, and I said, yeah, nobody should be transported to the hospital in the prone position. It's dangerous. And then she was like, well, we transported patients in the prone position all the time. I'm like, what? Like, yeah, like we transported patients in the prone position a lot. And I'm like, do you know what the prone position is? Lying on their stomach, strapped to the stretcher? I thought maybe they just didn't know what the word prone meant, which is, I mean, like you've all taken words you should know. You know how I feel about everyone's vocabulary. I think that you could all use some work, right? So, um, no, it turned out that they routinely transported people on their stomach for some reason, and I was like, I just don't understand why y'all would do that. Um, transport method, EMS transport method was ground ambulance. You think about it, like, what if you showed up and you transported the patient, but it was a helicopter that transported them away? So you need to have that kind of thought. You need to have that kind of thought process. All right, destination transferred. All right, so we're going to find a location. How about just wound care hyperbaric at Piedmont Henry or whatever? And there's a hospital designation code. Reason for choosing the destination, we'll say it was the patient, the family choice, which is usually where you go, believe it or not. Most of the time, patient destinations are a component of where the patient wants to go. Um,
when do you choose to when do you make a better choice for what hospital to go to? If maybe you got to go to a specialty center like a burn center, or you want to go to a hospital that has the cath lab or whatever. I think in Atlanta, of course, now like pretty much all the hospitals have cath labs. All right, so it looks like we satisfied this. There's some more spots here for billing information, which is usually not used. Most of the time, ambulance services will have yet another layer of paperwork to be completed for each call, um, which will involve billing information and obtaining signatures for billing. Again, none of this has been thought through at all. No one was thinking about this from your vantage point, your perspective. They just wanted more information. I mean, it'd be very easy to spend an hour writing just one patient care report. I mean, that's no joke. It'd be no problem to do that. In fact, when I worked up here at Habersham, that was about how long it took most of these guys to write just a simple call was over an hour. I worked at the cab, and you had to just keep turning calls over, and you knew that you might have to go to court or something later. So you just learned how to do this while you were while you're with the patient. You're like sitting there writing the shit up as fast as you could to try to get it done. I type 80 words a minute, and I was super psyched we didn't have to write down anything. But this is like the level of crap that has to go on there. Um, like so, why an ambulance service would have another form and not use this form? Which, by the way, all these forms can be customized, right? Why they don't why ambulance services don't just use that built-in function? I don't know. I mean, I think they're just trying to satisfy the billing company. All right, so now let's go into the narrative. All right, so look, how like you would be shocked if you read patient care reports. You would say, "What happened on this call?" We need to be able to tell the story of what happened on this call and do it in a way that we could explain it to dumbasses that can't get out of jury duty 2 years from now. Okay, and that's the reality of it. Like that's the possibility that's when you write everything up, you need to think about, could I explain this to dumbasses in court? So look, the cool part about what we've done so far is you've already written up. We already know a lot about the patient. If you did not write a narrative here, right, and you went through and did all the work and added like vital signs, age, history, how much stuff is there really to write here? You see my point? Like you've actually already captured all the really good information. Already they had it done as they had it portrayed as data. So I mean this information is extreme. This information is it's all there, all the main stuff. What you got to do now is tell the story. And the best way I could tell you to tell the story of what happened on this call is through the Chinese menu. So this is where we come back to the Chinese menu and we say, uh, so that this, so if you read if online, we talked about there was a format for writing a patient care report called SOAP, which stood for subjective. And in this subjective, it would be, you would say, patient's complaint, history, allergies, medications. But see, you know that we already did all that, right? You see that? Anybody seeing do you see what I'm talking about? This is what everybody else is writing. You already know all this information, right? And you're not really telling a story. And then also they also put a bunch of abbreviations in here, which is also asinine. And then there was another part here called objective. And this was things that you saw, assessment, vital signs went in there. People still put vital signs in here. Um, treatment, you look, if you did anything, you would have already listed it on there. This is the beautiful part about this whole system. This whole reorganizing your thought process to fit into this kind of a standard narrative format that exists in medicine. See, all medicine is actually sort of more or less uh, done this way. Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Assessment. Assessment was what you thought was wrong, right? And then plan was what you did, right? No, we could do, and we could actually write this in here, and it would be exactly what everybody else wrote. Again, all this stupid shit is already in there already. All this information is already in there. That they just nickled and dimed your ass for 45 minutes looking for putting every little snippet of information in there, right? I mean, you already know like how old the patient is, drug allergies, medications they take. See, all this stuff is already in there. It was already in a form. So this is when you're writing a patient care report and it's not on a piece of paper, which by the way is exactly what they do in the hospital. What we do with EMS patient care reporting is significantly more advanced than anyone else in healthcare. The whole idea that we're even doing this stemmed from a need. You guys probably heard of the HIPAA. I mean, I know you did because it was somewhere on the site. We talked about HIPAA, where the average what the average person reads out of HIPAA is, oh, I'm not supposed to talk about it. But what HIPAA actually was a huge, massive set of dictionary objects and rules and procedures and security procedures for securing online digital patient reporting. The average doctor at a hospital still writes this stuff down on a piece of paper. Because of that, the nurse has to write the stuff down on a piece of paper. They have to keep up with massive numbers of sheets of paper. And if you go to a doctor's office at any point in time, they always have a records room in here, and the room is filled wall to wall with files. And tell me, if you haven't seen that, then that just means you haven't been to the doctor in a long time. Okay, there's a whole room filled with files where they keep a file on you. Can you believe that? Anyway, we don't have that kind of resource to do that kind of thing. I mean, we're going to keep paper files, but we're not keeping them. We're not making a room filled with all this crap. However, we kind of probably should, considering how it's the same assholes that call us all the time. Okay, so how are we going to write this call? All right, so the framework that I like to use to write a call is I like to use the Chinese menu. So as you recall, we ran this call. We did a scene size up. We did a primary survey, and then we did a focus history and physical exam. And that's kind of and a lot of this information is actually already in the PCR. So all we have to do is tell the story in basically not so many words as to what happened on this call. And you would be extremely surprised to know that this would make your report significantly readable. Oh yeah, here's the other thing. I was sitting at an EMS conference last year in October, and they were talking about patient care reports and how people really didn't know what to write. I mean, how bad they were. And so this is a report written by one of my students. And actually, the student wrote, it was she did the whole thing summer. It was a stupid dialysis transport. And I was like, and she was like, picked up patient for scheduled dialysis transported to dialysis. And I was like, man, that is I was like, man, what? And I was thinking to myself, they were sitting there bitching about it. And I was like, what's wrong with that? That actually makes sense. You could read that report and you knew exactly what happened on that call. Um, so that's the kind of like that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking of. When I think about this stuff, I think the report should make sense. And my reports, after again, your documentation style will evolve over the years, but um, your uh, the all this stuff has if you can just tell the story, it goes a long way. So I mean, I remember I worked at the hospital. My reports you could always read and you could always kind of understand what happened. And sometimes they were even funny because if the patient said something funny, I would absolutely include that in there. I would put a funny statement in there just to make it more readable.
And so my reports, I feel like after a certain period of time, my reports were a pleasure to read, and so people tended to read them. But when you read the report, you knew exactly what happened on that call. It just wasn't filled with a bunch of industry jargon that really nobody even knows properly anyway. So stick to the English language, and let's just stick to what we did. So here is the report. So I'm going to start it off with the scene size up. And I'm going to make an abbreviation, scene size up. All right, so there was one patient, no mechanism, no need for additional resources. Boom. Primary survey. Was the patient alert? Yeah. Was she having any problems breathing? So, do you think she had a radial pulse? I'm thinking she did. So let's go with alert. Oh yeah, you always have to tell how you found the patient. Found patient standing on front porch. Alert. Do we even have to say that the airway is clear? No, we don't, because they're alert. We don't need to check the airway. No respiratory distress. Radial pulse. Don't give a shit what it is because guess what? It's already listed on the vital sign page. We already know what the patient's pulse is. No need to write it here. Focus history and physical exams. All right. Now this is where we can go into a little bit more detail about the complaint. And you can also include quotable quotes. So you go like patient complains of left left lower quadrant abdominal pain times 24 hours. So there was nothing on there that indicated what you didn't complain of. So this is an idea called pertinent negatives. So pertinent negatives are things that you would have asked to rule out things like, oh, did you also having chest pain? Did you also have difficulty breathing, etc. So you'd say left lower quadrant abdominal pain for 24 hours, denies nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, fever, loss of consciousness, chest pain, dizziness. Let me get that. I wonder if this is not one of you guys. Hold on. Here, Drew's here. Yeah. Yeah, good luck with that. How'd that work out for you? Did you pass it? Okay. A lot of people don't take it because they don't think they're going to pass it again. They thought they were lucky to pass it the first time. You might be different. You might have confidence in your test taking ability. So we usually don't deal with people that are brave enough to try that. Okay. Well, good luck on the tests. So what's your question? It's gonna it's gonna take 40 hours. Yeah. There's no getting around the 40-hour part. What did you think it was going to take you to get through it in 10 hours? I mean, it's a 40-hour class.
the state office makes sure that we get this thing that it takes you 40 hours to do this. So no, you're fine. Well, look, there's some time saving features on the site. So if you're watching a video, okay, and you need to go, all right, there's a little button at the bottom that says save and pick up where you left off next time. You can do that. So you can watch half of the video or one part of a video and then come back to the page the next time and it'll open up where you left off. So that's yeah. Yeah, well, you may have to renew late. So that's another possibility. So that you can do as well. But I mean, again, taking the test, you might if you pass it, that's great. I mean, we've had people, and I know people that do that. But I mean, like at the end of the day, I mean, yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, that's you know, at the end of the day, most people don't try that option. So just know that if you passed it, I mean, I'd be happy for you. It'd be great. So, um, and if you do, I'll give you a refund. How about that? You know, so, but, yeah, but like I said, it is possible. It is possible to turn all the stuff in late. Okay, so National Register gives you 30 days. Yeah, I mean, again, like you could take the time that you're going to prepare for the test and apply it to the Con Ed. I don't know what to tell you on that. So anyway, usually people just go through the Con Ed and just do the best they can with it. So yeah, there's a lot of people haven't even started yet. Yeah, they wait till the absolute last minute to do this. Yeah, you're not even the last of the last. Yeah, because EMS does procrastination in style. So okay, well, I would recommend you just keep going on with it. That's gonna be the easiest. But whatever you paid for the test. I mean, like take it. Maybe you could pass it. I don't know. Again, a lot of people just barely pass that test to begin with, and they don't feel like they're going to be able to pass it. So um, it's the same. It will be another computer adaptive test that you took. It's like the test. So yeah, it's the test. Like it's a test. Like if you don't study for it, you'll fail it, no matter how much you know about it. It's the same test. Remember how much you worked on the test? Yeah, it's the same test. Yeah, yeah. No, no, yeah, no, they want you to, they like the fact. I mean, you've been already dealt with National Register. Do they seem like reasonable people there? Okay. Well, look, I mean, like I said, look, give it a shot. You might. Okay. Well, yeah. Well, try it out. Maybe you can pass it and save yourself a lot of time. You wouldn't be the first person to do that, but usually people don't take that option. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Is it? I got you. Is there anything else I can help you with? 'Cause I got to get back. I'm in the middle of teaching class, but um, that's okay. But yeah, try it out. I mean, like if it works, I mean, then call me back and let me know. Okay. I mean, like I said, I think I think like you need a right now. Like I said, I can tell that you just have zero resources for time or anything. So I would suggest that you go on Pocket Prep and download Pocket Prep for EMT. that'd be the best thing you could do with the limited amount of time and resources you have. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you do. Yeah, absolutely. You got time. You can do it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like it's not the first time. So I mean, like like people do this, and they just I've seen people do this in a week. So you have to upload it to National Register yourself. No, not like we do with the state office. No, fortunately, but it's not that hard. It's not that hard to deal with. Okay, thank you. Bye bye.
Yeah, sorry about that. All right. So anyway, the all right. Um, so anyway, so you got the patient complains of abdominal pain, denies nausea, vomiting, fever. So we put our pertinent negatives in there, and then um, you know what I like to do? I like to put in something on here like patient states, um, patient states, and I like to put in quotation marks, comma, quotation mark. It hurts worse when I take a deep breath. Okay. So, and that's it. And then I would put in there what we did. So we already know that we transported the patient, right? Um, I do like to put in here what you probably did. So treatment, we assess vital signs, contacted and transported to hospital. Okay. All right. So there you go. That's all this thing needs to do to say. That's all you need to say. See, I just addressed the scene size of the primary survey and the focus history and physical exam. I used what we should already know as a format for writing a patient care report. And what you find out is and how did I even come up with this? So, um, if you run a ton of call, I ran every type of call hundreds of times, right? Um, and I'm having to write these calls up. What you find out is that like this whole it's, subjective objective assessment plan or subjective objective treatment changes, it doesn't really reflect. Those are good for writing. Those would be good for a call like this where the patient has a complaint or whatever and it's a medical call. But what if it's a trauma call? So if you're having to like you want something to be maximum flexibility, so, there's only really four outcomes for a call anyway. We know this. You're either going to do CPR on somebody, you're either going to ask them questions, you're either going to cut their clothes off and look for injuries, or you're going to try to figure out why they're unconscious. Right? Those are the four calls, and so everything else is a variation of that. So this is so by using so you might say, well, each of those types of calls actually has their own requirements. So why not use why not use the boxes to write the patient care report? All right. And so there you go. And so here we are at 88%. Now we go back up here to the times. And now we just go ahead and hit our numbers. Boom, boom, boom. 98%. Let's see. Oh, I got you. It also now wants mileage. If you look on the left here, you see mileage. So we'll see. We'll just put type some miles in here. Again, believe it or not, your ambulance knows exactly how many miles are on it. And
Could you get your odometer to talk to your patient care report? Yeah, you absolutely could. All this stuff could be integrated, and you would never have to type very much of any of this crap in here. You could hit the blood pressure machine button. It Bluetooth to your report. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of the stuff is just data, and it could just be assembled for you, and you would even not even have to write any very much of anything here. So this is why that's what I feel is missing um, in our world is that level of automation for this reporting. It just doesn't seem to exist. If people just like ambulance people that own ambulance services or run ambulance services just don't. They just say, well, that's what we're paying them for. I mean, like everybody, it doesn't take long to be bogged down by all this crap, you know. So, oh, there's James. Okay. All right. So, any questions about the patient care reports? So, the requirement is to have 5 patient care reports. Okay. With 99 with greater than with 99% or greater. Okay. So that's what I need to have in order to file review you. Okay. Does anybody want to see me do one of these? Do another one of these? All right, I'll take that as a no. All right, great. I have one more thing that we need to talk about real quick, and we will call it a day. Okay. All right, there's another assignment in here that I need you to do, and that is we need you to go into the train system and take this class. And I'm going to show you. I have a video that shows you how to do that. We can actually watch this video now if you want to. So what I'm going to get you to do is go to train. Let's go to this website. All right. So I want you to go to this page here, and I want you to you're going to create an account. And actually, I've got a video here that shows you how to create an account. Okay. And at some point, it's going to ask you for a medic ID. Okay. And so what I'm going to do here is send you a copy of yours. Let's see.
Okay. All right. I'm going to send you an email with your medic ID in it. Okay. I'm gonna do that now. Okay. All right. In the meantime, to show you how um, to get in there, you can watch this video. You can actually just watch this video at your leisure on my YouTube channel. Okay. It's gonna be right here, and I'm gonna start. If you give me a minute, I'll let me give me a second to send out your
Okay,
reports.
so what you're going to do is you're going to go on here.
Okay. So just give me a second here to send you your medic ID. I can do that real quick. It won't take me that long at all. That's your current medic ID. This ID will be different once you actually get your license, get your certification and stuff. All right. Okay. All right. I'm gonna run this. I'll let you guys watch this. I'll monitor. I don't want I can't hear myself. I don't want to hear myself talk. But I'll send you I'll put the link to the actual video that you can watch this. All right, there it is. All right, let me know when you're ready to move on. Okay, move forward. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to go on here and you're going to create an account. So you're going to create a login name, a password, and you're going to that's going to ask you some questions. Okay, so I'm going to try to demo this, but I can't. There's only so much I can do to demo this. Okay, um, this would have been a little easier to do in person, but you would have put like a login name, like okay, hold on. There we go. All right, so select state. Hold on, hold what you got there. I'm going to see if I can't get on that page too. Tell you what, just fire at me. State or federal agency? State agency. State agency. State. There's only so much I can do with this. State agency. All right. When it goes to the next one, let me know. Okay. select department or agency. It's going to be agency. Uh, oh man, I don't know. Let me see if I can do this. All right, here we go. You ready? You should be looking at this. No, you guys are already fucking this up. So just work with me here. All right. So you state, district, public health. Okay. And then it's going to be DPH state office. Okay. And then it's going to be Office of EMS and Trauma. Then it's going to confirm all this. And now it's going to ask you some more questions. It's no, it's state, district, county, public health. Let's see. You may be able to go back and hey, you can actually go back and just look what I just did. Okay, you can actually rewind just a little bit. Use the rewind. Just actually go on the playhead and just review it. But you'll see public, state. So it's going to be state, district, county, public health. So it's state, district, county, public health. Then state, public, county, district health. Then Office of EMS and Trauma. Then Georgia EMS, Medical Director, Peace Officer, Firefighter, Specialty Care Center. You're going to click on Georgia EMS. Then you're going to get current or future licensed EMS provider.
Maybe. Yeah, I will. Okay, all right, no problem. I love you.
Then I want you to confirm these selections. And then you hit continue. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't make the system up. I have to just get you in here. This is unacceptable. Freaking acceptable. Unacceptable from the word go. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you. It's going to say Georgia office EMS ID number. Now I'm going to give you that. Okay, so um, Brazil. Let's see. Okay, so Brazil, this is your number. That's Brazil. That's your number. Okay. Let me just do that again. Brazil. Okay. All right. Let's see who else is on here. We got F firm. We got Blount. Uh, let's see. We got Shamika's on here. And there's Shamika. Who else we got in here? We got Desiree. Hmm, Desiree. Let's see. We got two more here. We got um Cola's in here somewhere. I hope. I don't know. Cola, if you're out there, this is your number for it's your state EMS number. Okay, and we got one more in here somewhere. Who's the other person? We got who did I miss? Who did I miss? Blount. Or Wanya. I got you. Okay, Ramos. Got you. Got you. Yeah, no problem. I figured it. Just figured it out. How could I forget about Wanya? About Ramos? All right. There you go, sir. Thank you. Sorry about that. Are you going to pop that into that spot, into that number there? Okay, stuck at state, county, district part. You're going to click. Let's just rewind, okay? Um, can you rewind here? You can like go to the playhead on here, and you can just go back and look where I did, okay? So you can. There's a playhead. Use the playhead. To simplify on that page, so you go. So state, district, county. You're going to click on DPH state office. DPH State Office, and then you're going to click on Office of EMS. And then you're going to click on Georgia EMS. Okay. Just hit finish creating account. Right now it's going to send you an email. Once you do all that, it's going to send you an email. All right. Once you're in there, it's going to once you do your once you confirm your account, it's going to want you to update some things on this page here. Okay. So you're going to have to update your profile. All right, so you guys, are you updating? What's going on right now? I can't be you, so I can't see what you're doing. So can you help me out and let me know, like, where are you at with this whole process, so I can, if I know if I can move on or not. Okay, did you get past your blount? Okay, all right, good. All right, great. Let me show you what to do next, okay? So after you have your account straightened out, it's going to say you're going to go on here and you'll hit save, and then you're going to scroll down here to Georgia EMS CE training, and you're going to find this class here.
Where's it? I'm like, I'm good. Okay. You've been logged in. You logged in. I saw that. Oh, did you already? Are you talking about
I'm not
train?
familiar with group code.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. All right, all right.
Is this
I think you already did this
uh
class, didn't you?
Cola? Is that Cola looking for the group code? I'm
Yeah,
not
just
quite sure
log
what that
in
is.
and send us a
Anybody know what the
certificate
group code? I
if you
didn't see
don't,
it.
if you
There's no
can.
group. We never ran into a group code.
Yeah, just log in and get the certificate and send it to our registrar.
You're going to take the congenital adrenal hyperplasia class. This class right here. And you'll
Certificate's
click
going to be at the
launch.
top of the page where it says your learning, and then on that page will be certificates. So your learning at the top of the page. I'll show you the classes that you took. Actually, if you look at that congenital adrenal hyperplasia, I think there's actually uh, you can go on there and it will you can download the certificate for
Your organization can be Georgia EMS Academy.
login. Know exactly where.
Oh, okay, yeah. The question is like, what do we put in these spaces here? Okay, so I mean, you can put whatever you want in there. I mean, this is actually not a government website. Organization can be
Go
Georgia EMS
to
Academy.
it'll say
Um,
your training status.
NA for everything else. I
Scroll
think you
down
can
a little
just put
bit,
NA
your
for
training
everything, to be
status.
honest.
There'll be the classes.
Here's the other thing you're gonna have a hard
There'll be
time
a
with
thing
is,
on there.
you're gonna have to
Your current
find.
course,
You're
your
gonna go
training plan, and
through.
course certificates.
There's no professional license number.
It was under your learning. Okay, there it is. Okay, well that means you need to complete the course. So complete the course and then send us a certificate when you get done. All right. Yeah, yeah, you're good. All right. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. All right. I see that.
Professional role. You'll have to select three professional roles that best. But like just pick whatever, okay? But you have to follow the instructions to get past this part here. Okay, great. So once you finish that, right? So it's not going to let you take a test unless it's not going to let you take anything until you have done that. Okay, great. All right. So now I'll go back to that page. All right. And I'll go back to the page again and show you this. All right, whatever. All right. So now you're just going to go to the congenital adrenal hyperplasia class, which you would have found here. I'll make back up so you can see it again. EMS training, congenital adrenal hyperplasia. Okay. Yeah. Very good. All right. Then just launch the class. And then what I want you to do is watch the class. You'll have to take a test. And then you're going to have to, you'll take the test. And then you'll take the test and then you'll like get a certificate. And we need the certificate. You need to send that to us. Okay. So that's what we need you to do. So I want you to take this congenital adrenal hyperplasia class and send us the certificate when you get done.
All right, y'all. Looks like the video's shut down. And if you have any more questions or anything like that, let me know. Just hit me up on my phone. Um, I'll be monitoring, but I'm going to be signing off from here. So thank you. It's been a pleasure, and we'll be in touch about anything that we need. Thank you. You guys have a good day.